This is Gray.
This is Mal.
This is Liz.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 95 for Monday, November 21st, 2011. We have a new episode of Chuck, some new business to discuss, but first, a couple of quick news hits. Mel?
Well, normally we are recording this right after the episode airs on Friday, so we don't have the current episode's ratings. But this week, we happen to be recording on Saturday after the ratings were announced. So we have up-to-date news for you there. Just a quick hit there. The ratings are steady for the last 3 weeks now. About 3.2 million people tuned in to Chuck versus the Business Trip, and that scored a 0.9 in the 18 to 49 demo, which is the same as it's been for the last 2 weeks. So it looks like we've stabilized there, and I hope that the news of NBC's mid-season schedule and the rest of Chuck's airing schedule is going to get people back home on Friday so they can watch. NBC announced their mid-season schedule last week, including Chuck's series finale date. The show will return with new episodes December 9th. That means there's not a new one this week because of Thanksgiving, and December 2nd, they're airing It's a Wonderful Life, I believe. But December 9th, Chuck will be back, and it's going to air every week, even Christmas and New Year's, until it ends its 5-season run on Friday, January 27th, with back-to-back airings of episodes 512 and 513. So we will get a 2-hour series finale, but it's not a 2-hour episode. It's 2 episodes airing back to back, like they did at the end of what was that, season?
Yeah,
3.
which will be pretty interesting. I mean, December 23rd and December 30th. I'm sure a lot of us are going to be splaining to our families about because a lot of people do have big, with split families and that kind of thing. They have their Christmas events on the 23rd and the 24th and things like that. So. I guess. Yeah. Well, I guess it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, because we could be introducing a lot of new people to Chuck.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Watch it with your family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's family time. It's family appropriate. I mean, why not?
Yeah, and a total fun factoid. You may not know this, but the reason that It's a Wonderful Life airs so often at Christmas time isn't just because, and it is a great Christmas classic, but it's free. It went into the public domain because they forgot to renew their rights. And so anytime that you see that anywhere, the network isn't paying a cent for it. So that's why they air it at this time of year.
Wow. Oops.
Somebody's kicking themselves.
Somebody goofed.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's one of my favorite Christmas shows to watch every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind.
Yeah.
No. We actually have a little Kansas connection there. The little girl, that says every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. She's from near where I live. So
wow.
Every Christmas we get a little biographical piece on her in the newspapers.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, another fun factoid: because this is in the public domain, that is virtually the only movie of any kind that you could download and not be pirating.
There you go, Liz. Get it for yourself.
I know. Whoa. Now somebody's really kicking themselves.
Yeah.
Sheesh. I mean, that's a staple for Christmas. That movie. Oh, well.
Yeah.
And with so many takes on it, so many redos.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, Yvonne Strahovski certainly isn't going to be kicking herself after Chuck ends, because she is the first to confirm a post-series gig. Deadline reported that she'll play the female lead opposite Aaron Eckhart in the film I, Frankenstein. Yay, Aaron! Yvonne will play a scientist and Eckhart's character's love interest in the movie based on the Kevin Grevioux. I probably butchered that name, sorry. It's a graphic novel. So congratulations, Yvonne. And I'm so jealous she gets to play opposite Aaron Eckhart.
And a love interest, too.
Yeah. Love interest.
Yeah. Well, and I think this reflects on the quality of Chuck, that when these stars are going on to other projects, they're going on to major motion pictures, not to other TV shows. And I mean, Zach, we've seen him in a whole pile of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to see him and a lot of the other Chuck cast in a lot of major motion pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, a personal note, I do want to thank the Chuck fans because I know a lot of you voted for my son in the Whiskey Rocks music video competition, and he won. Very, very excited about that. I mean, you should have seen my wife's happy dance when we heard the news. But basically, he's won a $10,000 recording studio package where he gets to go into the studio with Ian Thornley of Big Wreck, who many of you may know, many may not, but he just so happened to be my son's music idol. And so, I mean, this contest was just absolutely perfect, and we're totally thrilled and looking forward to that. And incidentally, I actually shot and edited that music video, so it's a nice little hit for me too.
Very cool. Congratulations to Terrence.
Thanks. So we're going to be going to our episode discussion in a second after a quick hit from our sponsors.
If you pay attention to great films and TV shows, you'll notice the camera is always moving. Not panning or tilting like on a tripod, but smoothly moving through space. This week's featured sponsors have products that help you move the camera in different ways, and they don't have to break the bank. You'll find the Cinemover for only $80 at moveyourcamera.com. It can operate as a track dolly or a table dolly. Amazing value. If you want lightweight and affordable camera gear, go to indiesystem.com. You'll find shoulder rigs, jibs, sliders, and more at very affordable prices. Or, for a more heavyweight, longer-reaching camera crane, go to cameracrane.com for the comely crane and look for the Steady Freddy as well. But how do you focus when your camera's on a crane or a jib? Lightcraft Workshop has an amazing USB follow focus for Canon DSLR cameras. Part 2 of our sponsor messages will be after the episode discussion.
And we're back to talk about a business trip. What do you guys think? I thought 2 thumbs up.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Yeah.
I rewound and saw that it was written by Kristin Newman, and I was like, well, no wonder I loved it.
And you know, somebody on Twitter, Kaylee, I think, said it was just packed. And when I thought about it, it was. I remember looking at it at the time at about 2/3 of the way through, thinking we were almost done, and there was like 15 more minutes of story left. Like, it was jam packed, but all great stuff.
Yeah, that's Kay, who writes the recap for ChuckTV.net, and she messaged me and she's like, "Holy crap, I'm gonna have to watch this like 3 more times."
Yeah.
But it felt seamless, you know. It didn't feel like it was just going on and on and on. It just felt, or that it was too much to process.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, once you realized everything that had happened, it was amazing.
Yeah.
That it was one episode. Classic Chuck, you know, 3 episodes worth of stuff in one. Why not? Do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And some great stuff. I mean, the whole, I just loved the resort and all the characters that they were talking to, and the jokes among Bimorians and the whole.
And Bimorons is kind of a universal term, and there are Bimorons in every store. Yeah. Everybody has their own Jeff and Lester. That was clever. I liked that.
Yeah. And it was really neat to see Chuck and Sarah as a couple and trying to sort of piece together what their couple relationship should be and how to interact with other people, and especially Sarah wanting to actually have a friend, and I thought there was some really neat relationship stuff on this one too.
You know, I'm glad that towards the end there, she realized that her friends were, Devin and Ellie and everybody that was in the room there at the end there. Because I was thinking, as she was talking about, she'd like to have a real friend, I was thinking, well, what happened to your friendship with Ellie? I thought she was wasn't she a real friend? Yeah. So I guess she had to just have something happen to make her really realize that. But so I'm glad that happened.
Zuzu's pedals.
I think that she was also looking for a friend outside the spy world, you know, and Ellie is a part of the spy world now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sarah was feeling like in order to be normal, in order to have this normal life, she needed a friend who was not privy to that part of her life.
Mm-hmm.
She picked the wrong one, but I think that was her thinking. And then when that turned out not to be what she thought it was, that's when she said, "Oh, you know what? These are my real friends. This is my normal."
Mm-hmm.
I love that we got a family dinner scene.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've had everybody in one place, and I was just, there were just little things throughout the whole episode that just made it so amazing. And one of them was that it was Sarah that opened the door and called them inside and said, you know, we're putting out the appetizers. Come inside, you know.
Yeah.
That it was her welcoming them into her home.
Yeah.
That she shares with Chuck. I liked that. I liked that little.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
and how much fun was the throwing stars?
Oh my God!
Oh,
That was classic Morgan.
oh. But I mean, even when he said, "There's one thing I got to do," like, of
Exactly.
course, it races
that's what it
through
was.
your mind. What on earth is he going to do with his intersect? And that was awesome.
It was very well choreographed, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Kudos.
Gomez was having fun. You could tell.
yeah.
He was having fun with that. But yeah, so Morgan no longer has the intersect. Nobody on the team has the intersect.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
For now.
Yeah, for now. But
Yeah.
I like that that's how they brought in Beckman to
Mm-hmm.
do that. They brought in the big guns.
yeah.
And then her and Casey on the sidelines watching this ninja throwing star. And somebody pointed out, I think it was in the live chat, somebody pointed out that previously, in order to throw a ninja star, Chuck had to flash.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he doesn't have the intersect now, so he is retaining some knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody also mentioned last week, you know, he took Morgan down without the intersect.
Yeah.
He fought the intersect and he won.
Mhm.
Chuck did.
Yeah.
So, you know, these concerns that Chuck isn't going to be able to be a real spy or whatever without the intersect are obviously unfounded. He has been training, he has retained knowledge, but that's,
Well, it's been a few years now. I mean,
So Chuck's still special.
he is. He's always been special.
yeah, and you've got to retain some muscle memory of some of those moves, I think.
And yet Morgan appears to have lost some of his memory,
Mm-hmm.
factored into Casey's revenge.
The
Yeah.
important
My
stuff.
God!
Oh, those inside jokes. Those
Oh,
inside jokes about Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I totally agreed with him.
yeah.
I did.
Oh, yeah,
There might
Morgan
be a
deserved it.
lot of people who are going to disagree with me, but I think the original Star Wars movies were the best.
Yeah. Well,
Well, yes.
it is funny because they know their target audience. They know when they throw in something like that, it's going to be just as funny as the big moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they have him say, you know, Darth Vader is Luke's father and Leia
Mhm.
is his sister. Oh, man, I was like, oh! That is so, I mean, that's hitting him where it hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
But
and then
at
pulling
the
out.
end, you could tell
Yeah.
that he had forgiven Morgan because he kept the
Crystal Skull.
Yeah, Crystal Skull. He didn't give him that one.
Yeah.
But he
All
gave him.
about-
But he gave him the three best ones.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
He
hope
kept the bad one and gave him the other three.
I hope Spielberg and Lucas don't watch Jack.
Well, I don't think this is news to them, Gray.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. That fourth one should not have been made.
Yeah. Oh, and the baby yoga.
How cute is that? Downward puppy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, how are you guys liking this new Jeff? I'm totally loving him.
Yeah.
Ew. Way
Yeah.
to go, Scott Krinsky.
And I mean, I get the sense that we haven't seen the last of it. I mean, this was him getting in people's faces a little bit with, particularly with Jeff's with I want to say I'm getting mixed up between Jeffster, Vixahai, and Lester. Okay, Lester. Lester being arrested.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though Vic said that he was going to be in jail.
Uh huh.
For Jeff to be the one to call the cops on him, Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burn. I could smell the flames of that bridge going down.
Oh, wow.
And how much fun was it when Yvonne Strahovski passes Lester in the back of the van and just goes on.
Normal thoughts.
Oh,
She just didn't want to get involved in that.
yeah.
Oh. I'm really liking how they're having Sarah interact with all these other characters.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was wondering why Big Mike was the one that went down with the toxic poison with it. That total touch.
I think it's because he was the one sitting there eating cheese balls,
Mm-hmm.
and Jeff had been eating, healthy food. They kind of foreshadowed that back at the resort where they had the, the woman telling Sarah, saying, "How do you look like that? I've been with the Bymore for, however long, and I can't keep my face out of the cheese balls."
Mm-hmm. And also, Big Mike was closer to the door.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Logistics, whatever, Gray.
All right.
Yeah.
What was Jeff reading? I never got a clear shot of
Flowers for Algernon.
Oh, okay. I could see something that started with an A at the bottom, but I could
Yeah.
not
What a perfect book to be reading.
Aw. And did you love Big Mike? I gotta get a camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Oh, this this was an episode that you could go back and watch a few times.
Yeah. I think I will too.
Yeah.
I was a little bit expecting Carrie Ann Moss and her team to show up and have Casey's back at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys think that that might happen?
It
No.
crossed my mind, actually.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking that. I think it'll be interesting to see where they go with the guys in jail. Both Casey in jail and Lester in jail.
Separate jail cells, I hope.
I was gonna say there's got to be a moment where
Yeah.
they're together in the same cell.
Now, someone on the site asked why Decker arrested Casey if Casey was just doing his job. And from what I was seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong here,
Mm-hmm.
Viper was now on a covert mission for Decker, and Casey just happened to hear her being assigned the mission and took out her team before she could do anything.
Yeah.
So therefore, he wasn't officially on a mission. But if Decker, so it looks like he just killed these people, out of revenge. Basically.
Well, he's
and so if Decker didn't retaliate and arrest him, he would have to explain why he let Casey get away with killing all of these subcontractors.
Well, even though the team has been talking to Beckman, Casey's still a civilian contractor, right? Like he's
Right, exactly. And he just killed a bunch of other contractors, even though he knew that they were coming for him. So it was, kill them before they get to me.
Yeah.
But that's not on the record. That's not an official mission.
Mm-hmm.
So Decker would have to explain, I sent them to kill them, even though I just said that we called off the hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what that...
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little convoluted, but...
Yeah, Decker has a solid case against Casey now.
Yeah. Well, and
as long as Casey doesn't reveal why he did it.
But then it's just
Casey quiet.
Right, but it's his word against Decker unless somebody can tap
Unless he
into
reported that.
Right, exactly. Unless somebody like Chuck or Morgan can tap into that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I do like the fact that they're not just ignoring that these guys are not having the military privileges now.
Mm-hmm.
They are civilian contractors, and they can't just walk around doing everything that they have before. They have to be more careful.
Right. And I think that was instinctual for Casey to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and not to say, not to step back and go, wait a minute, I'm not a colonel anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved that he and Sarah had that going on the side, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their relationship this season is just, it's one of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And that she didn't even have to say anything. He just said,
it was just a nod. They knew exactly.
Yeah, and then when he gets back to the dinner and she just kind of sends him that look and he sends one back and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Remind you of something?
Yeah. How those contacts working out for you?
Fine.
We found out this week we have the same prescription. So that
What?
was a little.
Yeah.
Liz and I, we have the same contacts prescription.
Huh.
That was a little bit freaky.
Weird.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see what else was awesome in this.
Well,
Awesome was awesome.
Yeah, Awesome was awesome. And it was so neat how Jeff, like, you could really tell how sharp he is now, that he was able to pick up on subtle nuances of Ellie and what she really was thinking, and I love the fact that Awesome picked up on it and acted on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's the kind of guy that if you say your wife is unhappy, he says, "Let me make her happy."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's gonna totally focus. Yeah, I like that too. I mean, Ellie, showed the audience that she wasn't happy with this new lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's a new mom.
Yeah.
It's hard to go back to work, and then to watch her,
That baby is cute. Oh my god.
Yeah, so cute.
Yeah.
There were a lot of babies in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Where the chat room exploded with baby.
Yeah.
If there had been puppies too, it would have just exploded literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we should talk about Alex.
Yeah. Way to stick to your guns, girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's right. She shouldn't take him back. Even though he said, "I love you," it wasn't the right circumstances. He hasn't shown it. You know, it's just words. And I think she does sort of believe him about having the supercomputer in his head.
Mm-hmm.
But he also said, like, she said, you told me you were done with the spy life, and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud of her. I mean, I'm sad that they're apart, that they're not in a relationship anymore, but I'm proud of her for standing up for herself that way.
Yeah, and we're seeing so many parallels too. Like with Chuck not telling Ellie that he was still in the spy life, but with this, it's applying something similar that I guess a lot of people who enter the spy life must face, but with a completely different context, it makes a completely different story.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it is to an extent the Chuck and Sarah story.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying, as long as you're my asset, I can't be with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of the same, but like you said, it's got a twist.
Yeah.
Now, I was not surprised at who Viper was revealed to be.
Me neither.
Yeah.
No,
sometimes you just know I want to say this nicely, but the caliber of the actor. Like when you recognize that actor, it's like, okay, that's probably the one.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the red shirt.
Right. Well, that and just the way, I don't know. I think those of us who watch a lot of TV, and especially shows that have twists and turns, I think we're kind of getting to the point where we're conditioned to suspect the least obvious person,
Mm-hmm.
the one that they're trying to make look the most innocent or the most unlikely.
Yeah.
Because the bartender, I was like, now wait a minute, is it him? I don't know. No, that's too obvious.
Yeah.
And then they threw us that feint of having him, Viper had hired him to be, her red shirt, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that threw me for a second, but then I realized it was only 7:35, and so of course it was not the real Viper.
Yeah, TV Land is going to have to start switching things up again because we're on to it all. You can't surprise us anymore.
Yeah. Well, while we're still on the Alex story, we have Casey welcoming Morgan back into the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool, and but we also should mention, and somebody tweeted about this, about having problems with Decker and the general, and in particular, it was the fact that now it seems like Decker's, in the regular chain of command, and the general's over him, and he had some confusion about why this would be when Decker was so clearly acting outside of the regular chain of command in the season 4 finale, and in particular, he seemed to be acting over the general in the finale. I personally didn't have a problem with it. I see him as having a huge rogue side, but still using the regular channels when it suits him.
Exactly.
What do you guys think?
That's exactly what I thought. Is this mission that he's got these agents on? They think that it's authorized, but it's actually a rogue mission.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's, I think Beckman's kind of aware of what he's doing, but she doesn't really know his true end game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she wouldn't have authorized, if she did, she would not have let him go after Morgan, we saw. But also, that later mission that he gave Viper at the end, no way would she authorize that.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally rogue.
Yeah.
So he's sneaking around doing something, and I can't figure out what his target is ultimately, because he said, you are not authorized to kill Bartowski or Walker, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody else you can.
Yeah. Well, in that is very consistent with, I mean, what I understand about the sort of spy game is that everybody's playing so many different levels, and you may even know a person's got this rogue aspect, but you still work with them in the regular channels to watch them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would never want to. I wouldn't want that job.
No, but I did love the split screen thing we had when Decker kind of mushed his way in.
Yeah.
On Beckman's briefing.
Yeah.
And she was so upset with him. Oh my gosh, that was comedy gold. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she let him on, I guess, later on when they were dealing with Viper, and they had that split screen again. I hope they kind of keep doing that, because the two of them playing off each other, even though I know they're not technically in the same room, I love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
She can't do anything because she can't prove that he's doing anything illegal at this point, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amazing. You have all that technology and all that knowledge, and you've got someone like Decker who could still pull one over on him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
So, boy, a lot in this episode, but I think that's probably...
We didn't mention that Crazy Bob has a furry side. I could not believe they went there.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Sarah. Poor Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to
Killed
say
a
that.
rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They sure did go out of their way to make him look like the bad guy, though.
Mm-hmm.
So of course he knew it wasn't him. He was hiding something else.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of an interesting touch that they had Sarah with her hand with those sensors on herself,
Oh, yeah.
telling a lie, and
Yeah.
gotta come up later. That's gotta be foreshadowing for something.
Well, because you
Not
could tell
just
it
that
bothered her.
Right, exactly. And I don't think it was just that Viper was also an excellent liar.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's something coming down the pipe for Sarah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's lots coming down the pipe, and it's going to be...
Well, yes.
A clue. There's a clue.
Going to be some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
And
guess...
she kicked some butt this week, and that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And the whole scenario with the bomb in the car was...
Yes!
It was nicely played, I think.
And Chuck disarmed the bomb without the intersect, without porn, and without apple juice.
Yeah.
He just did it. Good job, Chuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
That's our Chuck.
So, we have to wait a couple of weeks, or 3 weeks actually, because there's 2 missing weeks in the schedule. That's happening right away, right? So no next week, and then no the next week, and then
Right, we'll be back December 9th.
December 9th. Okay, so December 9th, you got a lot of other Christmas events and parties and things like that. But make sure that you mark that on your reminders. If you got that new iPhone, talk to Siri and tell it to remind you about Chuck on that night.
Nice.
And if you're like me and don't have that new iPhone, post it on your computer or something. Set a reminder on your whatever reminder program that night, 8/7 Central. Let's watch Chuck on NBC. Yep. So we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors, and then a little conclusion, and then the spoilers.
For handheld footage that looks like a Steadicam, try GlideCam. Starting at only $369. Look at the difference it makes. A great source for inexpensive DSLR accessories is jag35.com. Field monitors from $249. Shoulder rigs, sliders, and more. For high-end field monitors, go to smallhd.com. A higher resolution monitor means better photos and videos.
And we're back. We want to thank our sponsors for making this possible, and thanks for joining us. We're going to go to our spoilers in a second, But with a couple of weeks off, Liz, what could we do in those weeks?
Well, you could always chat with us, send your comments and emails to mail@chuckpodcast.com.
Mm-hmm. So for right now, as we go into the spoilers, if you don't like spoilers, no problem. There's something very easy you can do. Just pull out your headphones. But otherwise, let's move on to some exciting stuff. And we're back with spoilers, and we've got some, haven't we?
We do. We have the synopsis for the next new episode, which is episode 505. It's titled Chuck versus the Hack-Off, and this one was directed by Zachary Levi. An undercover mission at a bizarre cult reconnects Chuck with his hacker past. Ooh. Carrie-Anne Moss, Bo Garrett, and Danny Pudi guest star. A mission to track down a computer supervirus leads Chuck to return to his roots as a hacker and to call on his biggest competition, Gertrude Verbansky, for help. Elsewhere, a new Buy More employee, guest star Danny Pudi, complicates Jeff and Lester's friendship. Yvonne Strahovski, Adam Baldwin, and Joshua Gomez also star. Chuck vs. the Hack-Off airs Friday, December 9th at 8/7 Central on NBC. Again, December 9th.
Mm-hmm. 9th.
All right. Well, the title for the series finale, episode 513, has been released. Get your tissues ready, kids. It's called Chuck versus the Goodbye, and it will air January 27th, as we talked about earlier.
Wow.
Goodbye, Chuck!
Goodbye!
Wow, that is going to come so fast.
And we're going to be bawling. I know it. We're going to be crying our eyes out. Because when this show decides to do heartwarming, all bets are off.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a sober note to end the podcast. I think we're going to have a lot of sober notes ending podcasts. And
but we have 9 more episodes.
We do. And they're going to be awesome. And this is that run that Phil Klemmer was talking about of some really solid episodes. And they're not disappointing.
No. And you know what? I emailed PDAC last night and said, yay, Sarah kicked butt. And he emailed me back and he said, you have no idea.
Oh. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm kind of expecting that in episode 8, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you're ready.
Very cool. Well, I'm ready. And I guess, hey, since we won't be seeing you for a few weeks, have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're in the United States.
And just a wonderful couple of weeks if you're not.
Yeah. Cool. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.